The corporate lobbyist at rung 5 looks tired. You start around 80 grand writing briefing notes. You can clear 8 figures over a career steering laws for paying clients. Year 5 is the question. The body count is statistical, not cinematic, and it still lands. Look, this ladder is not every government relations job. It is the pressure side of the profession. 5 rungs: entry staffer, lieutenant fundraiser, operator with issue control, fixer with institutional reach, then principal. Your year 5 exits stay the same: prison, exit, promotion, or career death by scandal. Now, because this ladder is legal enough to wear cufflinks, people pretend the victims are theoretical. They are not. They are patients priced out, workers underpaid, neighborhoods breathing worse air, taxpayers eating the loss. The sentence length often reads 0. The family law still reads divorce, debt, distance, and a name nobody trusts. You think you are learning policy. You are really learning obedience and deniability. Pay runs about 80 to 150 a year in Washington or a state capital. The lifestyle is long hours, donor breakfasts, and inbox triage. Risk is low personally, high reputationally. The typical person here is 22 to 28, a good school, maybe a Hill internship, maybe campaign debt. Somebody one rung up hires you because you can smile through a 12-hour day. Year 5 usually means promotion or washout. Victim cost starts early because your memos help delay rules people needed yesterday. A court-documented story. Jack Abramoff's machine ran on junior staff and eager intermediaries long before principals got sentenced. Abramoff later pleaded guilty in 2006 to conspiracy, fraud, and tax evasion. Several figures around that network went down. The direct junior sentence can be 0. The tribal clients and public trust ate the bill. At rung 2, you stop being the kid with the binder. You become a relationship surface. Pay jumps to about $150,000 to $400,000, sometimes more with bonuses. The lifestyle adds steakhouse nights, donor calendars, and constant phone rotation. Nothing illegal on the phone until somebody gets sloppy. The typical person is 27 to 35. You have 1 campaign cycle under your belt and know who returned your call last winter. Your risk changes here. The first subpoena, the first text pulled in discovery, the first person below you who saves himself by naming you, 1 documented story, sits right in public view. In the Commonwealth Edison bribery case, federal prosecutors described payments and jobs funneled to allies of Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan to influence legislation. ComEd entered a deferred prosecution agreement in 2020 and paid a $200 million penalty. Families lost jobs, savings, and years in court. Rung 3 is where you think you finally matter. You do, but only as long as clients can invoice your access. Pay ranges from $400,000 to $1.5 million a year, with outliers above that. Lifestyle means private clubs, retained counsel, and a spouse who stops asking what exactly you did today. The typical person is 30 to 45. You have issue expertise, agency contacts, and enough insulation to sound calm while other people panic. Risk turns federal here. Honest services fraud, false statements, campaign finance violations, foreign agent problems, conspiracy. Sentence length, when it lands, often starts around 2 years and can climb hard. Wild specific story. Richard Quinn, a South Carolina political consultant and lobbyist, pleaded guilty in 2017 to failing to report more than $4.5 million in payments tied to influence work. He received home confinement and probation. Legal sentence, light. Family cost, heavy. Public cost, years of bent governance, bought wholesale. Rung 4 is middle management in the expensive room. You are the fixer between corporation, trade group, law firm, and elected office. Pay runs from $1 to $5 million a year. The lifestyle turns quieter. Less social posting. Better tailoring. More shell committees. You keep 3 calendars and show none of them fully. The typical person is 38 to 55. You know chiefs of staff, regulators, committee councils, and who needs a bundled event rescued by Friday. By rung 4, the math doesn't work anymore. You are too exposed to disappear cleanly, and too valuable to leave without everyone asking why. Court-documented story. Paul Manafort spent years on the high end of influence work before his 2018 convictions on tax and bank fraud, and later FARA-related admissions in his plea deal. He was sentenced to a combined term that effectively exceeded 7 years before pardon relief. His family got raids, headlines, and asset seizures. Victim cost on this rung is broad and boring. That is the danger. A delayed safety rule, a tax carve-out, a neutered enforcement budget. Body count is indirect, often counted in actuarial tables and public health studies, not yellow tape. Year 5 here usually means promotion, scandal exit, or prison by paperwork. Rung 5 is the principal. Founder, rainmaker, former senator, ex-agency chief, cabinet veteran, or the person who owns all their numbers. Pay can hit 3 to 10 million a year and much more over a career. Liquidity is the problem, because lawyers, security donations, and reputation repair eat first. The typical person is 40 plus and in for life unless they choose exile from the business. Lifestyle looks polished from the sidewalk and exhausted from the inside. Cars with drivers, empty apartments, 3 phones, a holiday dinner interrupted by a client crisis because a committee markup moved 12 hours earlier. One documented top rung fall. Former Louisiana congressman and lobbyist Bob Livingston's firm built enormous influence after he left office. The cleaner example of legal top-rung power is often no conviction at all. The dirtier example is Abramoff again. 48 months in federal prison, restitution, a career turned into a cautionary invoice. Year 5 at the top narrows, prison if emails, foreign money, or bribery facts get pinned to you. Exit if a scandal forces quiet retirement, consulting abroad, or cooperation. Career death comes before physical death more often in lobbying, but stress, alcohol, and isolation do their own counting. Families lose privacy, inherit suspicion. Now, the body count. On this ladder, it is usually dispersed. A pollution delay can mean asthma admissions. A drug pricing carve-out can mean skipped treatment. A wage rule killed in committee can mean evictions. You do not meet most victims. They still finance your rung through worse outcomes and slower relief. The sentence lengths also distort the picture. Street work gets years fast. Influence work often gets fines, deferred prosecution, probation, or a short federal term wrapped in a white-collar headline. The truth is the legal risk falls unevenly. Junior people lose careers. Mid-level people lose houses. Principals sometimes buy time. What years around this ladder teach you is simple. Operator to victim can run one name against 10,000 harmed people. Year 5 still resolves the same way. Prison, exit, promotion. Or a softer kind of death inside the profession. Top rung salary is mostly notional once defense bills and protections start feeding. Climb carefully. Every rung pays and every rung charges. Most rungs end somewhere you wouldn't visit on purpose. Which rung is just a worse version of a legal job you've had? Be specific.